Rob Ash Show is brought to you by the Ostrom Group, the best cars in the world.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Rob Ash Show. I'm Mick Turr, along with Drake football coach Rob Ash. And, Coach, congratulations. Big win over Valparaiso, Indiana. I know last week we were sitting here talking about how big a game this would be for the Drake Bulldogs, this pivotal part of the season.
It really was a huge game, Mick, because the winner of the game was going to still be in the conference race, and the loser was going to have to play for pride the rest of the year. And our guys knew that, played probably our best game, maybe since I've been here. A huge win for us that keeps us right on track.
One of the things we don't always talk about, especially, is the special teams, but we should this week.
Special teams were dynamic in this game, and the reason I think was that we were very concerned about Valparaiso's special teams. They had had great performances throughout the year. We worked hard on it during the year or during the week of the game, and we had two big plays in the special teams that really turned the game around. Bulldogs
now 5-1. I know you're a little concerned about this ball game. This is a team that did still have some scholarships, of course, and they were a big team.
Oh, they were impressive physically, Mick. I mean, we were 45 miles from South Bend, Indiana, and I thought it was Notre Dame when they walked out. They had the gold helmets and everything. They were very big and strong. We were hoping, as we watched the tapes, that we ran well enough as a team to keep up with them and maybe use some speed to neutralize their size, and that's the way it turned out.
Coach, where do you put this victory in the long list of victories for the Drake Bulldogs?
We've had a lot of good ones. You know, I like all the wins, to be honest, but this is probably as big a win as we've had overall because of the implications in the conference and because it might be one of the best teams we've ever beaten.
We'll see some of the highlights of this victory by the Drake Bulldogs, but we'll take this time out.
For nearly 40 years, Dave Ostrom has offered Central Iowans cars that set the highest standard for excellence, superior automotive technology, style, and of course, value. Plus, a commitment to service designed to satisfy your needs. Today, our 3 dealerships offer an outstanding selection of import and domestic cars. The Ostrom Group. Together, we bring you more of the best cars in the world.
Hi, this is Tom Baldwin, owner of Home Team Pizza. That's the only place you can get Des Moines Super Larger Large, that fantastic 16-inch pizza. You already know we make our dough every day from scratch, and so it's the freshest anywhere. And you already know we guarantee delivery in 30 minutes or you get your pizza free. But believe it or not, there's still some people that don't know that our Larger Large pizza with single topping is only $7.99, and it's absolutely delicious. So call Home Team Pizza right now for your Larger Large.
Service.
Answers.
Saving. Our company is smaller now, but the level of service from Holmes Murphy is still the same.
When I have insurance questions, Holmes Murphy has the answers.
They found ways to reduce our premiums by cutting our risks.
Integrity.
Service.
Advice.
Leaders turn to Holmes Murphy.
Welcome back to the Rob Ash Show. Coach, going into the ball game, you had some bad news, of course, about the weather conditions that were supposed to happen.
Well, they predicted rain, you know, for Friday and Saturday, and Friday wasn't too bad. And we were keeping our fingers crossed maybe it would be okay on Saturday, but there was no way. It rained hard from the minute we got up in the morning all day long, and there's a picture of the conditions. There's my wife and some of our other hardy fans who came to the game. And, you know, the interesting thing is our guys really don't mind playing in the rain. We practice in the rain when it's, you know, if that's our day to practice outside, we just go out and practice. Our guys handle the conditions extremely well, but it wasn't much fun to try to play this type of a game in those kind of conditions. You'll see it just gets worse and worse as the game goes along. We held them on the first possession. Here's Chad Briley returning a punt for about 15 yards. Notice how he breaks 2 or 3 tackles, and there's the first of many splashes you'll see on the day. We had some technical problems with our camera here at the beginning of the game. This is our first running play, however. Julian Nathaniel running up in there, breaking several tackles and showing Valparaiso that we were here to mean business. And, you know, making what could have been just a 1 or 2 yard gain, you know, a 15 or 20 yard gain. And we proceeded to rip off another big gain by Julian, and then we threw a quick pass to Chad Briley for the first touchdown. Those plays, unfortunately, were not on the tape, but we did get out on the first drive for a 7-0 lead. After we stopped Valparaiso, their first possession, they came back with some good plays of their own. That's Ozzie Young, who's a sophomore tailback, a guy we're going to have to contend with for 2 more years after this, number 23. But our defense was tough in the red zone. That is inside the 20. They tried to power the ball in at us right there, and we stiffened up there and stopped the fullback inside on the trap play. Then on the big play here, the quarterback rolling out, trying to find somebody, and it was a little overthrown. We had good coverage, and so Valparaiso had to settle for the field goal. This ball hits the upright, and it ricocheted in for a good field goal. They almost missed it, but it gave them the good field goal for a 7-3 score there in the first quarter. We came back. We still had a little bit of trouble moving the football. On this particular play, Roy was a little wild high, and over Briley's head, right into the arms of their defender there, number 13, and so the turnover gave Valparaiso the ball back. Here's a nice run by their fullback, breaking through on the trap. Mike Beeman tracking him down. Craig Ortworth with good hustle over there to also help out on the tackle, but Valparaiso was off and running again, still in the latter part of the first quarter. On third down, though, they tried a swing pass, and Ortworth wasn't fooled. He got out there and tackled Ozzie and held him to a field goal situation. They made it again for a 7-6 lead, but those 2 stops were crucial on the part of our defense. So we could have been behind 14-7, but instead we're still ahead, 7-6, and it was really key that we were able to, while our offense struggled during this part of the game, we were able to stay ahead, keep our lead. Here's one of our patented counters, Julian picking his way up through there for a 10-yard gain or so, really doing a nice job of finding the open spaces. And here's the counter again, another nice run where he was submarined by number 13, Snyder, who was a free safety, who always came up and tried to tackle people real low. We had to be careful about that, and Julian had to dive over it. We came up here with a crucial situation. Fletcher started the game at quarterback, and he's in there, number 11. We got a long count at the line because we're choosing run and pass at the line of scrimmage. And we ended up going with the run play. Julian runs over a tackler and gets the first down for us on a real important play there. You see the power that Julian ran with. I was real impressed with him all day that way.
And confidence.
Yes, sir. And there's a blitz with a quick dump to Sean Diggs. Key play there because he was able to see that against the pressure and get the ball quickly. And then Mike Stanfield, we spread him out and he got inside for the touchdown. That was really a good drive by our offense after not doing much throughout a lot of the latter part of the first period, first part of the second period. This was about 2 minutes left in the half. We scored to go ahead, or widen our lead to 13-6. Valparaiso tried to come back, but Brad Nemec picked off the pass. That was really important because they had completed a big one to get out to about midfield, and then Brad put out the fire with the big interception. We came back here. Roy's going to scramble out of the pocket. The coverage was good. He rolls to his right. He finds Dave Doran near the sideline. Dave makes a real nice catch, slides out of bounds. We're down to about a minute left in the half here, and we had 3 incomplete passes, so with about a minute left, we punted. We're actually less than a minute. Watch this ball almost stay in bounds in the water, or stay in the field of play in the water. It rolled on the line, touchback. So with 25 seconds left, Valparaiso gets the ball. They tried 2 passes incomplete, which stopped the clock for us. Then Brian Peck makes a sack. Watch Joe Bianchi on the right side of the screen calling timeout. 6 seconds left in the half. They have to punt. John Kunster, number 41, comes in, blocks the punt. Ira Marsh, number 47, falls on the blocked punt, and there's no time left in the half. The half has expired. We scored on the last play of the half on that blocked punt. Great job by the defense getting the 2 incompletions, forcing the 2 incompletions, making a sack, making the timeout, and special teams making the big play right before halftime.
We're at halftime. Here's some of the folks who make this show possible. Well, Coach, at this point, you got to be happy not only with the score, but also the way the club's playing.
We played really well in the first half, and we were worried about getting off to a second half, but Chad Briley took care of that. Opening kickoff to start the second half. Look at the great run. Untouched. Great blocking up front. Matt Jones blocking the last man on the safety, and Chad's not going to be caught once he breaks into the clear. He's got great speed. How many times has he done that for us? 3 times last year or 4? That's the first one for a touchdown this year, but he's always had big plays. And what a great start. Now, you know, in those conditions, it's really going to be tough for Valparaiso mentally to come back from that kind of a play, and also realistically because of the fact that the conditions are so bad. Our offense continued to play well. Mike Stanfield there with a good trap up the middle. But unfortunately, a couple times we got stopped on 4th down deep in our own territory. Here Roy scrambles. Sean Diggs is wide open back over here, but the ball weighed about 14 pounds by this time. It was really tough to do anything. Valparaiso tried to catch up. Here's an interference call, which is unbelievable. Darren Book was inside. If it was interference on anybody, it should have been on their tight end. But it gave Valparaiso a hope in the second half to come back. But watch this on a 4th down play. Ozzie Young's going to fumble. No, that's a tackle by Craig Ortworth. There's a fumble here a little bit later. So we stopped it there. That was 3rd down. Then on 4th down, I think they're going to fumble. 4th and 1. Defense stopped him on 3rd there with Ortworth's tackle. And then here's the fumble. And Darren Book, number 16, makes the recovery. Defense once again rising to the challenge, making a stop in our territory when Valparaiso had a drive going. So we got the ball back, and we'll keep things in perspective here. There's a fake reverse and a deep pass to Sean Diggs. There's nobody else back there, guys. But he slipped and fell, trying to come back for the ball, which again was heavy and hard to throw. And again, we got into a 4th down situation. Here's Fletcher trying to go to Diggsy. Now, we saw in slow motion, you could see that he's complaining. Number 5 grabbed his arm about 5 yards before the ball got there, but no call was made, and so we got that drive stopped. Valparaiso switched quarterbacks here in the 4th quarter. Went with a freshman, number 14, who came in, which was interesting because Rail was being touted as being the best quarterback in the conference. We got him on the bench. This is 4th and 13, though. This young man here has a lot of talent for Valparaiso. Look at him struggle to get to the stick on 4th and 13, and he made this on this particular play to help Valparaiso's 4th down comeback. But then, you know, shortly after that on the snap from the shotgun, you can see it was getting very, very difficult to handle the football. And then you'll watch here, we got good pressure. Todd Sauer, number 61, coming in. Our pass rush was excellent by our front guys all day long. That time we did have a blitz, but even just a 4-man pressure, we did a great job. Todd anchoring the inside there and doing a nice job. Big sack to help put out any chances for a comeback. Then finally in the 4th quarter, Mike Stanfield grabbed his knee there, Mick. I was a little worried because that was the one he hurt last week, but it was only a little bruise. It was no big problem. And we were able to run the ball here towards the end of the game. And then on 3rd and about 5, we got this play in late, snapped the ball with 1 second left on the 25-second clock, and Briley catches it. We were just living right in this game. And so we converted on the 3rd down, able to keep the drive going. Now we're just trying to run out the string, fake the ball there to the tailback. Fletcher running the ball. He's not going to throw it in this situation. He's out there inside the 5, dives for the pylon, doesn't quite make it. They said he stepped out of bounds. So we hand off to Old Reliable, and Mike Stanfield powers it in. Good hard hit by the outside linebacker, but Mike was across the line. And that pretty much shut the door on any hopes Valparaiso had with making the score 31-6 in the 4th quarter. Now at this point we started putting in our number 2s on defense, and we put in everybody on offense. Everybody who went on the trip played here through the last part of the game. This is the last play of the game. We got all our second guys in there. Jamie D'Angelo got a few snaps at the end of the game, which was good. I just didn't want to change the conditions being as bad as they were up until this point in the game. And then they're shaking hands. You can see we're all drenched. And I have to say this about Valparaiso. The head coach, Tom Horn, there in the white hat, he's a real class guy, and congratulating us and saying he really felt our team played exceptionally well in this game. I have to agree, it was a great performance.
Indeed it was, Coach, and I think that you've said it before, you know, you really like the chemistry of this team, and they really play well in all aspects.
Well, they are really starting to hit, you know, in every phase right now. Our special teams came of age. Our defense didn't allow a touchdown until Valparaiso scored one against the reserves later on. Our offense was steady, not exciting, but steady, and, you know, that's why it's important to be balanced on offense, because in conditions like what we had, if the passing game is being slowed by the weather, you've got to be able to run the ball, and we were able to do all those things.
And I know you guys wanted to pick up a win, of course, stay in that conference race.
That's right, and the conference title is still very important to this ball club, and I think that's one of the reasons we played so well. Our guys really want it.
Let's take a look at the statistics of this ball game. Going to be kind of interesting here.
Well, they had more yards than we did. If you look down there, about 5 or 6 lines, total yards, 332 for Valparaiso and 312 for us. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that throughout the entire second half, with a 25-6 lead, you know, we were content to let Valparaiso get a few yards. And they also had some good drives in the first half where they got a lot of yards, but they didn't score any points. And you know, the bottom line was our special teams had put some points on the board, and our offense, though we didn't have a lot of drives, the ones we did have ended in points and touchdowns, and that was the difference in the game.
And we might also add Valparaiso kind of prides themselves in having special teams too.
Right. They've had 4 touchdowns already with their special teams this year. Unfortunately, it was us that had the touchdowns this game.
We'll be back with more of the Rob A. Show in a moment.
His wife Annette, daughters Elise and Marlene, and grandchildren Michael, Risa, and Mikey invite you to join them and all the employees at Home Plastics in supporting the Drake Bulldogs all season long. This fall, there's exciting nonstop action and entertainment when the Bulldogs hit the field. Take your family to all the games. Sam does. There are 2 names Des Moines can count on: Home Plastics and Drake University. To make a great Sunday brunch, start with a great view. Add something colorful and healthy. And don't forget to add something a little sinful. Add something steamy and delicious and really pile it on. Then make sure you add the right stuff, like good friends. Sunday morning at the Capitol View Dining Room. Brunch at the Best Western Starlight Village downtown once, and you'll be back for more.
And welcome back to the Rob A. Show. It's time for our Ostrom Group Play of the Week. Of course, a big victory for the Drake Bulldogs means two plays. A little special for you. The first play is at the end of the first half, and our second play of the week comes at the start of the second half. Right, Coach?
We're going to pick up the action here with 6 seconds left in the first half. We just called a timeout to make Valparaiso punt from deep in their own territory, and we're going to try to block this punt. Watch John Kunster, number 41, and up at the top, Dave Keim and Ira Marsh, 48 and 47, come after the punt. Kunster gets through. After the punter bobbles the ball, he punts it, and John gets the block right there. Fortunately, the ball bounced back and rolled into the end zone because time is running out here in the first half. John goes after the ball, but Ira Marsh, number 47, actually beats him to it and gets credit for the touchdown. And the last second expired for the half. So the last play of the half resulted in a touchdown. Here's the first play of the second half then, a kickoff to Chad Briley, opening the second half. And Chad's going to come past 2 important blocks here. Rich Hoskins and Dave Doran right there kicking people out. Cortez leading the play, Cortez Hull. And Chad goes through untouched on through the point of attack. Now, it's a very wet field. Earlier, Chad had an opening like this on a kickoff return, but he slipped and fell making this cut. Here he slows down, gets a nice block from number 77, Matt Jones, and then he's got 1 man left, which is the safety. The safety, number 16, is a good defensive back for Valparaiso, but once Chad Briley gets in the open on these kickoff returns, as he's showed us many times in his career, nobody's going to catch him. So Chad ends up taking it 90-plus yards, about 97 yards, I think it was, for the touchdown. 2 special teams touchdowns in a row, consecutive plays for Drake touchdowns in the Valparaiso game.
Thanks, Coach. Time now for a home team pizza player of the week. Any guess here? Chad Briley. 4 catches, and also you just saw that touchdown run as well. Todd Kim had an opportunity to talk with him after the game.
Well, special teams had a big part in the Bulldogs' victory here at Valparaiso, and one of those plays, a 97-yard kickoff return by Chad Briley to start the second half of play. And Chad, congratulations, you're our player of the week.
Thank you. I mean, there's not much come out the second half. We wanted to get a big spark, and the end of the first half, we got a big spark from our punt block unit, and we needed a big spark to come out, and I think we got one.
You know, you figured this team was down 2 touchdowns at half. They were going to come out ready to go in that second half of play. And a kickoff return like that can really take the air out of a team, can it?
Yeah, I think they were real deflated at the start when we did that. I mean, that's something that really knocks the wind right out of you. You come out all hyped up after half and have something like that happen. It just takes wind out of your sails.
You know, teams have been kicking away from you a lot this year. You hadn't made the big plays like you did a year ago off kickoff. But I know the coaches felt that this team was going to go downfield with the football and challenge you. And you were really ready for that, weren't you?
Yeah, most of the year we'd face kickers that really couldn't kick it all the way to the end zone, and watching film on this guy, we knew he could kick it deep, and they were real confident in their kick coverage team. They'd kick it deep, so they were going to challenge us today, and we responded.
What talk about the kickoff return itself, because you said there was a lot of great blocking right at the point of attack.
Yeah, there was at least 3 or 4 guys that were on their back right at the point of attack. I mean, you can't ask for any better blocking than that with Valparaiso guys laying on their back.
And then the cutback against the 2 safety men, it was really over at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a hard time. I don't know if they got cut back or not, but they had a hard time keeping their footing, and I'm just glad I got cut back without falling down.
I want to go back to the beginning of the game, because after Valparaiso's first possession, they punted it, you took the punt, and went up the field, really gave the offense good field position. It turned into a touchdown after that. Yeah,
that's something we really wanted to do, is come out and really get a good start, because last week we kind of sputtered at the beginning, and we need to get a good start this week to give our defense a rest and give them confidence that we're going to score and you guys aren't going to let them score. So.
How much of a factor was getting the lead here today in these bad conditions? Because you didn't do that at Butler. You got behind, and it seemed like it really hurt you in that game. Today, it was a much different story.
Yeah, if you're behind, you're trying to play catch-up, and it's a lot harder for receivers to run their routes and for the running backs to make cuts. And if you're ahead, you're not pushing things, and when you're behind and trying to catch up, you're pushing everything, and it makes it hard.
What about this team as a big play team? I know the running game helps that, but you guys are throwing underneath and making big plays out of it. Why is that? Why are you able to do that?
We're running a bunch of crossing routes, and the idea of that is to have them guys get mixed up in their own guys and bust on coverage basically, and we've been fairly lucky so far this year. They haven't come through the pile in the middle, and we get open.
Chad, you hail from Creston, Iowa. You're a native from there. How did you become interested in the Drake program, and how did they get in touch with you?
Well, Coach Neiman talked to me when I was a senior in high school, and Drake was really the only school that recruited me out of high school. And I was small then and really wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I'm glad I came here.
And it turned out to be the right decision for you, didn't it?
Yeah, if I had to do all over again, I'd do the same thing.
Well, this is a big win for you, but now it sets up an even bigger game against a Dayton team, which will come in with a lot of momentum. That's been a great rivalry.
Yeah, I think they're winning right now, and they'll be at the top of the league all by themselves, and we have a chance now to win the conference title by knocking them off in the doghouse next week.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Chad Briley, our Player of the Week.
And Chad Briley, our Player of the Week. And Coach, how good is he?
Chad's outstanding. You know, some of the pro scouts have come through and looked at him, and what they like the fact that he catches the ball well, that he hustles, but what they really like is that he plays every play. If he's not getting the ball, he still runs hard. If it's a running play, he blocks hard. And they like his intensity and enthusiasm. And, you know, even though he's the fastest guy on our team at 4.5 something, you know, he's maybe not fast enough for the pros, but they've been impressed with the way he plays.
Indeed. Nice kid. We'll be back with more of the Rob Ash Show in just a moment.
For nearly 40 years, Dave Ostrom has offered Central Iowans cars that set the highest standard for excellence, superior automotive technology, style, and of course, value. Plus, a commitment to service designed to satisfy your needs. Today, our 3 dealerships offer an outstanding selection of import and domestic cars. The Ostrom Group. Together, we bring you more of the best cars in the world.
When the delivery time of gasoline, diesel fuel, and motor oil supplies is crucial to Iowa industry. Timely personal service and quality Conoco products at an affordable price that service professionals and their customers can depend on. Parker Oil Company of Des Moines, Iowa.
Welcome back to the Rob Ash Show. Coach, let's take a look at the Pioneer League standings. The Bulldogs still in there.
We've got a chance. We're right up there in with the loss column. We've got 1. Dayton has none, but we can have a chance to do something about that this week against Dayton. Dayton beat Butler in a big game last weekend. Evansville came from behind and scored late to beat San Diego. So San Diego had 3 trips to the Midwest and ended up 0 for 3, but played really close in all 3 games. And, you know, there's still a lot of teams with 1 loss, and if we would happen to win against Dayton, that would really throw this race into a total confusion, which is what we hoped for.
We're talking about Dayton in a moment. Bulldogs playing well right now.
We really are. I'm really happy with where we are, Mick. You know, our defense has improved every week. Our coming of age, our special teams are really satisfying, although we missed a lot of extra points. We have to work on that before this next ball game, but it wasn't really Billy's fault. The conditions were bad, but I'm really happy. I think we've got a good chance now we've got still got a tough road to hoe with San Diego, Evansville, Dayton left on the schedule.
And anytime you mention the word Dayton, it does bring home a lot of attention, because they are a nationally known team.
They really are. They've had a fantastic run of success here with Coach Mike Kelly at the helm. They've been in the playoffs a lot of times. They have 36 consecutive wins with the senior group. They've never lost a regular season game. They've got the longest winning streak in the nation at any level as far as regular season games, and so they've got a great thing going.
And it always seems like no matter if the Bulldogs play over there or play at home, they always play them well. So I look for a good game.
We've closed the gap against Dayton. The first couple times we played them, they were way better than we were, and then the last few times, the last 3 times we've played them, we've matched up better each time. So it's our time to get out there and not be intimidated by Dayton and just play a football game, and we'll be fine.
But the Bulldogs could do a lot to put themselves on the map if they can get a win this week.
It's going to be a great game, Mick. I mean, it's homecoming. We've got our centennial of football we're celebrating. Lots of alumni, football alumni coming back. We've got Dayton at home. You know, it's a huge game in the conference. A lot of reasons to play well. Could be a great day.
You know, I think the Bulldogs are playing with as much confidence right now as I've seen them.
This is a confident group. I think these young men believe in themselves. We've been together as a group of players and a group of coaches for a long time. They believe in our system. We've been relatively successful the last couple of years. All that feeds on itself, and I think it's paying off for us.
Interestingly enough, in this Pioneer League certainly is that we've seen some big teams. Now we're going to see a team that's a little bit taller, not quite as big as maybe Valparaiso, but they're a big team.
That's right, Mick. They're tall, they're not as big, but they are quick, and they're fast. It's what Dayton has built their program on, is guys who can really run. We have a couple shots from last year's game at Dayton Stadium. Good passing game. This is Judd Mintz, number 33. He's also going to get the handoff here, break a tackle, and go down the sideline for a good gain. He's a really scary threat for them this year. Played really well in the Butler game last week. Defensively, they pride themselves on their 50 defense. They're able to run to the ball. Here's Cortez Hull making a good run, but you always see a whole swarm of red shirts around the ball carrier every time that you run a play. Roy Fletcher played this game last year, and we tried to throw the ball down the field, and that's a linebacker getting back about 40 yards to make an interception. You can see they really cover the field, do an excellent job. Here's a play they got a touchdown on right before the half. Stan Wheeler, number 4, is a transfer from University of Indiana, runs supposedly about a 4.3 40, and he's a real threat that's back also.
No doubt about it, they're a good football team. How much adjustments will the Bulldogs have to make this week for this team?
I think the key is not to make too many adjustments, Mick. We've got to just play our game. They've got some good players, or they wouldn't be where they were, but we have some good players, or we wouldn't be where we are. And we don't want to make too much of Dayton. We want to just play Drake football at home in our stadium and see if our game can work.
Need a big crowd. Need a big crowd down there Saturday. I can believe that everybody believes that the Bulldogs can win this.
Well, I think we can, Mick. We're not going to go into this, feeling like we got to do anything different or pull any punches. We just would like to have Drake people, Des Moines people, everybody come out and watch, because it doesn't get any better than this for our season, and it's going to be a worthy opponent. It should be a lot of fun.
Coach, the best of luck to you, and hopefully next week we'll be talking about a win.
Thank you. I do too.
Thank you, and thank you for watching The Rob Ash Show. We'll see you next week.